Gomez slash Deputy Gomez. And the reason I'm both, I actually have two different police cars in my driveway. During the daytime, I am a deputy for the Boise County Sheriff's Office. And after hours, when all the deputies go to bed, I am an officer for the Idaho City Police Department. So I am dual purpose, duly sworn, all kinds of coolness. I have a bachelor degree in electronics engineering technology. So I worked for Micron Electronics, flew all around the world, Italy, Singapore, spent lots of time there, did all kinds of electronic stuff. Then one day at the age of 36, I decided to become a police officer. I saw an ad in the paper and said, I'm ready to do that. So I became a police officer for the city of Meridian, which is about 100,000 people. I was one of 100 plus police officers there. My first 3 years on patrol were on night shift patrol. That's where all the fun people are. And soccer moms in the morning are not that fun, they're kind of grouchy. After I spent 3 years on patrol, I was asked to go to a middle school and be a resource officer. When I went to the middle school, what I found is that most of the problems at the middle school and the high schools were all revolving around social media. Fights, bullying, suicidal, drug dealing, everything was social media. From the 6th graders on up. And so the middle school I was at had 1,200 students, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So it was a huge middle school. I started talking to kids, and I realized I didn't know what they were talking about. My social media skills were not there. My computer skills were there, no social media. So in order to educate myself on social media, I tried to look around, tried to talk to people, tried to look at some books. Nothing was to the level of what the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders were. So what I ended up doing is I made a fake social media account of a kid at the school. Just picked a random name. I picked an East Coast person with a helmet on so you couldn't identify him. I made an account. I friended about 20 of the kids at my school. They all accepted me. After I had 20 of the popular kids, people started friending me. Within about 3 or 4 months, I probably had 500 kids at my own school that were on my fake account. Once I had this, I could see every day what was happening. I could stop fights before they were happening. I could see who was dating who. I could see what language kids were using. I could see what was important to them. I started learning some of their habits, some of their mentalities, some of the things that were happening at a middle school level and how the kids were behaving, which helped me greatly. But what I also started seeing is that as we would arrest sexual predators in the community, I would check their friends list against my kids at my school and found that a lot of the predators had multiple kids at my schools that were friends with them. And so I would ask the kids, I'm like, hey, do you know this person? And they'd say, no. Then why do you have them as a friend? I don't know. So with that, I started educating kids. Hey, look, we have to have an education on social media. You can't have people you don't know. My first rule that I came up with was less than 200 friends and shoulder touch policy. So unless you had touched them on the shoulder, you shouldn't have them as a friend, because anybody can be anybody on social media. And this helped a lot because what I found was that as you went above 200 friends, people become anonymous. And as people become anonymous, they say things they don't normally say in real life. Which also helped when a parent would call me and say, hey, my kid is being bullied a lot on social media. I'm like, let's get them down to 200 friends. And it was an awesome tool. And I found that a lot of the parents that did get their kids down to 200 friends, rarely were they bullied. So we're going to go through some slides, and I'm going to kind of tell you about each one and some of the things that pertain to each one, some of the things I came up with for best practices, some of the scary situations, some of the things that are happening in today's schools, and some of the ones that are up and coming. So let's go to the first slide. It's probably one we can skip over. Let's go to the next slide. Accessibility. Kids have more access to information than anybody else, ever. Right? Adults have more access to information than anybody else ever. I always tell people, cold made all men equal. Wi-Fi makes all kids and predators equal. No matter where you live, kids have access to predators. Predators have access to kids. They also have access to great information. Let's go to the next slide. One more. Okay, so the devices we have to worry about. As I'm doing this presentation, a lot of people think of cell phones. That is our biggest problem with cell phones. However, all these other things can connect to Wi-Fi. All these other ones can be a problem. I always tell people one of my biggest rules is no devices in bedrooms. Right? When you have an Xbox in the bedroom, when you have a Wii in the bedroom, when you have a phone, when you have a tablet in the bedroom, it invites people in all night long. And I get parents, one of the biggest excuses I hear is, well, they use it for their alarm clock. You mean by staying up all night and they don't go to sleep? Like that kind of alarm clock? The Xbox, the Wii's, they can talk to just as many predators. So, huge thing, no devices that are Wi-Fi connected in bedrooms. Next one, smartwatches. So smartwatches are starting to become a big problem in schools because kids can cheat. They can take pictures with a smartwatch of a test. They can send it to their friend sitting next to them. They can have a test on their watch and they can scroll down and see all the answers. And all they have to do is flick their wrist and it shuts the watch off. So a teacher walking by is not going to see it. So a lot of the bigger schools where I've been at, they make kids take their watch off during tests because a lot of those can be used for cheating. The first one I have mentioned up there is a gizmo watch. A lot of the reasons that parents give out smartphones early on, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, is because they want to stay connected with their kid, whether they walk home from school alone or not. The gizmo is an excellent option to give a kid. It basically allows you to put 10 phone numbers in there. They can't call anything else than those 10 phone numbers. You can GPS track your kids, you can see where they're at, you can communicate with them back and forth, but it doesn't allow any outside communication other than the parents set up. There's a couple versions of that. T-Mobile has a version. I think that's the Verizon version. Excellent until kids are about 11 or 12 years old, and kids will start teasing them at school. So up to then, that's a perfect choice. Next, cell phones. So cell phones are breaking into two categories. You have flip phones and you have smartphones. A lot of parents, for some reason, think flip phones are super safe. They're a lot safer than a regular phone. But what kids are doing with the flip phones is they enable a hotspot on them. So all the flip phones, you can put a hotspot, which means that you can connect it with a smartphone, an iPad, anything like that. And these days, most kids have multiple devices. Right? It's super easy to get multiple devices. A lot of parents, when you upgrade your kid's phone, the old phone, if you don't turn it in, it just goes in a drawer somewhere. And those phones come out and they can be used for all kinds of things. But they can also be used through a flip phone to connect to the internet if they don't have their own service or their own Wi-Fi. In fact, some people have turned their parents' flip phone into a hotspot, so when the parents shut down their Wi-Fi for the night, they just hotspot their parents' phone and the parents don't even know it. It's kind of genius. As we start dealing with phones more and more, we have to decide who becomes responsible at what point. So, if bullying happens on the weekend online, is the school responsible for that? It shouldn't be. Right? But the parents will call into the school, hey, my kid is being bullied. What happened on the weekend? Well, yeah, well, my kid's at school now and doesn't feel safe, so you guys have to deal with it. Same thing with on the bus. Who's responsible for it on the bus? Is the school responsible for it on the bus? Is the police responsible for it on the bus? Is the parents responsible for it on the bus? Right, so those are all kind of things that schools have to deal with that they've never had to deal with before. It's kind of a crazy thing. Next. School supplied devices. So I know our schools either give out iPads or Chromebooks to almost every kid. It's from like 3rd grade on. The schools put some kind of software on them that's supposed to keep them from looking up pornography, looking up things, bullying. We check the emails that go back and forth. However, the kids usually find a way around that. They can usually find a VPN loophole. They can get through the VPN, and so they can look up inappropriate stuff on the tablets. They can look up inappropriate stuff on Chromebooks. And again, now we have a problem because the parents, hey, I just saw my kid watching porn on a school-supplied Chromebook. It's your guys' responsibility to monitor this. And the school does the best they can, but they can't stay on top of all the hacks and all the software upgrades. Same thing with sometimes, during the pandemic, we saw some parents were actually using the Chromebooks and the iPads inappropriately. What do we do about that? It's kind of a weird situation. But no matter what, the kids are going to find ways around it. They spend so much time and have so much access to information, they're going to find a hack. School's going to do the best they can. Parents are going to freak out anyways when they find out that's been happening. We just have to educate as best we can on that. Next. Device theft. This is a big problem. Parents will send third graders to school with a $1,000 phone. And when that phone gets stolen, of course the parents say, hey, well, this is school's responsibility. Even though many schools have a no phone policy, well, they went to school with a $1,000 phone, they better come back with a $1,000 phone. Right? Kids are kids. They go do a cartwheel in the grass and that phone falls out and it's lost. Right? Well, parents don't want the kid to have any accountability, so it was stolen. And we have this happen all the time. Now, we also have legitimate people that steal phones. And the reason they steal phones is because they want to have extras, so when a parent takes theirs, they have a backup phone. So when their friend who doesn't have a phone, because their parents don't want them to have access to social media, they can come and they have their extra phone at their friend's locker. Right? So extra phones are very highly wanted. You can actually buy a phone on Craigslist, anywhere from $100 to $600. And you don't have to cellular activate it, you just use it on Wi-Fi. You take it to school, you can have all your stuff, you leave it in the locker, and parents never know you have a cell phone. And those are the parents that usually are talking loudest, yep, my kid doesn't have access to the internet. Well, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Next. Online threats. Online threats become a big deal. Every kid does not want to go to school on test day or whatever. So what's happening is they either make a threat themselves to the school, or they find an old threat that's happened in another state at a school with the same name. Right? So we got Mountain View High School. How many MHS schools are there in the country? Lots and lots and lots. So now they will recycle a threat from an MHS school from Virginia, from Texas, and they'll show it to their parents. Mom, look, it says tomorrow somebody's going to shoot up the school. They know good and well that it was an old thing, but mom doesn't know that. So mom calls the police, mom calls the news station, mom calls the school. So now we're sending out, as a school, we're sending out an email to everybody, hey, there's been a violent threat at the school. If you're not going to send your kid to school tomorrow, then just call us like you would normally. But then we have real threats. I had to be called in very late at night. Somebody had made a threat on Instagram against one of my middle schools. Well, I contacted Instagram, got the information, we got the address of where that threat was. We took a SWAT team, because we don't know who's in that house, who's making a threat. Could be an adult, could be a kid, could be anybody. All we know is they have pictures of guns in a closet, they have a picture of our exact school, and a time when they're going to attack the school. It turned out to be a 6th grade girl with little braces on, who made that threat because she didn't want to go to school the next day. I think they banned her from ever attending our school district after that. Right? So she changed her life forever. And her parents were clueless. They were an older couple, they had no idea what happened on social media. They couldn't understand the big deal at all, even though there was a SWAT team in their front porch. But these things happen and they're so easy. It took that girl maybe 10 minutes to make that threat and change her whole life. Next. Devices during class time. Now, the middle school I went to today was awesome, no phones, and they make it stick. There are some other schools who have had success with that, but a lot of the schools, especially the high schools, don't have nearly the success with no phones. So what happens is kids actually get addicted to social media. They are addicted. The reason I know this, I do a lollipop experiment. I take a bag of lollipops to the school and I said, hey, you can have a lollipop if you can show me you used your phone for less than 8 hours yesterday. And most of the kids are like, well, there's no way I used it for 8 hours. And they pull up their screen time from yesterday. Oh, it says 12 hours. Yeah, oh, it says 16 hours. It says 19 hours. Right? So when are these kids sleeping? They're not. They're coming to school and they're living on energy drinks. They're going home and they're staying up all night on Snapchat, on Instagram, on TikTok. And so usually if I put the 8-hour limit, maybe by lunch I'm giving out 4 or 5 lollipops in a school with 2,300 kids. Because when I went from the middle school resource officer, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, 1,200 students. Then I went to Mountain View High School, which is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, 2,300 students. But when I can't find kids that have spent less than 8 hours yesterday on their cell phone, that's a problem. Now they're addicted. So when they come to class, They're either using it under their desk or they're going to the bathroom 10 times during the class period because they have to feed that addiction. And what's worse now is when a teacher asks for a kid's phone. Hey, I see you're using your phone, let me have it. You get it back after class. Now kids are saying, no, my mom said I didn't have to give it to you, it's my phone. It's not yours. When that happens, all class is lost. The teacher might call administrators to come in, but how big a scene are we going to make? A huge one. So now teachers are starting to give up the fight, and they're like, okay, just text, do what you're going to do, just I don't want to hear it. So then I walk through school sometimes, and I look from the back of the class, and there's a bunch of kids texting under their desk. The teacher knows they're texting, but is not going to make an issue of it because she knows she's not backed up by parents anymore. He knows he's not backed up by parents anymore. Right? Anybody that's worked at school knows how crazy parents can be calling in. We get parents who call in and say, hey, I need a welfare check down on my kid. Okay, what's going on? Well, I sent them a text like 15 minutes ago and they haven't replied. Okay, they're in the middle of math class. Well, you guys have no right to keep them from texting me back. I'm like, hey, this is a school of learning. They shouldn't even have their phone here. Well, they need their phone because what if there's a fire? I'll say, that model does not put out fires. I checked. But that is how crazy things are getting. Right? And then I get parents, when a teacher does take a phone, the parents will call me, hey, I want to file a theft report against the school. What they get from me is like, hey, is there a real parent in the house somewhere? Because that's crazy, but we hear that at the schools. And the longer we go, the less parents support the teachers. And the worse the kids become about their cell phones. It's a crazy world. Right now they're using their cell phones for exchanging naked pictures of fellow students, for making TikTok videos of teachers that they shouldn't be making, and all manner of craziness. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And if an administrator gets one bullying complaint on a cell phone issue, now they're going to take their whole morning to document the bullying, to call in several students to talk about the bullying, to document what they're going to do to fix the bullying, to call the parents. It takes a whole day of an administrator's time to deal with the cell phone issue, which shouldn't even be happening, but it is. Next, bullying. It really bothered me when I went to the middle school that I got so many parents complaining about bullying. And as I looked at it, most of it was not bullying. So what would happen is I'd have a Twitter fight between two kids. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The first parent to call me tells me they're the victim of bullying. But I can clearly say it's a back and forth. And at that time, the definition of bullying was something about imbalance, perceived imbalance of power, I think was in there. Perceived imbalance of power. So basically anybody could be a victim of bullying. Luckily I had a cool school that let me change the definition. I changed the definition to one-way repeated harassment of any kind. Made it super simple. So if a kid called some other kid some ugly name in the hallway, is that bullying? No, it's rude, but it's not bullying because it's not repeated. If kids got in a Twitter fight and one was losing, are they being bullied? No. That is social conflict. And every time a parent calls me and says, my kid's being bullied, my kid has a problem, I'm like, awesome. Here's an opportunity for us to teach. Here's an opportunity for us to show kids how social conflict should be resolved. Because are kids going to have social conflict throughout their whole life? Yes. Right? The ones that don't learn how to resolve it are the ones that when they get cut off accidentally, they pull a gun on somebody. Right? That's somebody who didn't learn how to resolve social conflict. So it's a great opportunity to teach them in school. If we change our definition of bullying, we get many less bullying complaints. Now, as I talk about these things, I also see awesome parenting. In the middle school, I had like 20 popular girls against 20 popular girls Twitter fight, and every parent called me and wanted me to arrest every other kid and anybody who looked like it. As I was talking to one of the parents, said, hey, my kid is being bullied. I said, no, she's involved in social conflict. And she says, oh, my daughter didn't tell me that. And I explained what social conflict was to the mom. She was, let me call you back. She called me back about an hour later. Officer Gomez, I'm sorry I didn't have all the information. She says, we are out of this conversation. In our house, our number one rule was our daughter was not to get involved in any negative talk about anybody online for any reason. She violated that rule. She just got a phone like a month ago when she turned 13. She's gonna have to wait till she's 14 to see if she's mature enough to handle a phone, because obviously she couldn't. That girl never had another problem. And she followed me to the high school, so I know she graduated without ever having another social issue. Right? Because parents set the rule very clearly, and they stuck by it. You know, brought a tear to my eye, the beautiful parenting there. It's not what I normally see, but it does happen. Next. Social conflict. We already talked about what social conflict is. Next. Well, I think one back. Yep, so forward one to the drugs. One forward, it should be drugs. There we go. Social media and drugs. On Snapchat, any kid can order any drug to the school anytime. Delivered. It's that easy. I know this because I use my fake accounts and I order drugs to the school anytime. And we arrest people. Okay? You can order heroin, you can order meth, you can order prescription pills, you can order marijuana, you can order anything you like. This was actually taken right off of Snapchat. So, a half, 180 for a zip. So they're telling you what the price is for how much. A zip is a gallon bag, not vacuum packed, but full of marijuana. So a half is 100, a full is 180. Okay, and keep that image in mind because we're going to talk about it again here in a little bit. Next. So I'm usually having this talk with kids about marijuana. With all the counties, all the states going to legalize marijuana, I hear you guys are going to legalize marijuana here soon. Idaho's a holdout state still, and we don't see it coming yet. We're fighting it as much as we can. Oregon, Utah, everybody else around us has gone to legalization. What I tell the kids and the adults that they don't understand is, no matter how legal they make it, they're not going to make it free. And then as I'm talking to kids, I said, let's take a sixth grader. They're super smart about marijuana. You offer marijuana, it's like, no, that's bad for me. I'll spontaneously combust, the police will come, I'll end up in a hospital. They're not going to even come close to it because they're smart. Once you get to 8th, 9th grade, you start ending up in social situations where marijuana is offered. When marijuana is offered to these kids the first time, it's usually, some hottie girl or some hottie guy from the mall or something. When they offer it to a kid, it's much harder to say no. Right? If it's the creeper out of the van and offering free ice cream and marijuana, it's easy to say no. But it's harder when it's your peers. It's harder when it's your brother, your sister, your friend. And when they take a toke of marijuana, nothing really happens. They don't spontaneously combust. They don't end up in the hospital. But what happens over time is they take a little bit this week. In 2 weeks, they take a little bit more. As they start giving it more and more, they start staying up later and later with their pothead friends. Their motivated friends, they leave the party early because they got to go to school in the morning. They got to go to work in the morning. Their pothead friends who don't have jobs, they stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So it quickly becomes they don't go to school, they don't go to their job. And then pretty soon, remember I mentioned, marijuana might become legal, it's not going to become free. The price becomes a problem because they've used all their allowance, they've used all their job money. How do you get more marijuana? Almost every kid starts stealing from their family first. I always tell parents, check your change drawers, check your jewelry drawers, check your power tools. Kids will start selling those things for marijuana. Then it becomes jockey boxing. They go start checking people's doors at night to see if it's open, stealing the change. Then pretty soon you end up in jail, then pretty soon you end up a dealer because dealers make money and they have marijuana, which is true for a little while until you go to jail. The big part about marijuana that I try and tell kids is that it's an addiction. They say, it's natural, you can't get addicted. My terminology for addiction is giving up everything for one thing. And what happens with the potheads? They give up their sports, they give up their school, they give up their job, they give up their friends, all for marijuana. It's an addiction. But the same thing happens with cell phones. You get kids who will spend the whole day, the whole week on their cell phones. They are addicted. Vaping, addiction. Pornography, addiction. Some kids, video games, addiction. I've gone on 911 calls where a parent has stopped a Fortnite game in the middle of the game by unplugging it and had the kid freak out so bad and start breaking windows that parents have to call the police. Right? That's an addiction. So that's how we get to addicted kids with marijuana. And I always tell kids, hey, do the math yourself. The last 10 kids that drop out of school and not go to a new school, how many of them are potheads? Every one of them. If I took a poll of how many kids smoke pot that steal from Walmart, or caught shoplifting, almost every one of them smoking marijuana. Almost every one of them. Next. Oh, nude photos. Here's where it gets icky.
This is when he gets scared.
Get my coffee here. Nude photos is becoming a huge, huge problem. And parents have a hard time understanding. And I don't blame them. Because I know I have grandkids. I have 3 grandkids who are now 12, 13, somewhere around there. My little granddaughter, who's 12, does dance, has a little cute bow in her hair, tutu, whatever she has. When is she going to start thinking about sex? When she's 30. She's too cute to think about it any time before that. Is that true? No. But most parents can't look at their babies that they've raised from a kid and see them as 12, 13 and start thinking about sex. It's just not correct for a parent to think about. Yet I deal with it every single day. So here's the numbers that I come up with from all the schools that I go to. By 8th grade, about 40% of the girls have sent out naked pictures. By 11th grade, it's about 75%, between 70 and 80%. Now, the Gomez had to come up with those numbers from dealing with it every day, from talking to SROs around the country. And I go into classrooms a lot. So when I walk around the schools and I see there's a substitute teacher that's getting ate up by the kids, I go in there and start talking to them. And I'll ask them, hey, Officer Gomez says 75% of girls have sent their nude photos out by 11th grade. Raise your hand if you disagree. And I've asked thousands of kids. Maybe 4 or 5 have ever raised their hand. Ever. Okay? Nude photos has become currency at the schools. So remember the drug picture where I showed you 180 for a zip? Now what you get is 180 for a zip. We'll knock $30 off if you send a nude with your money. If you do any kind of sexual favors, we'll knock more money off, depending on perceived hotness of whatever girl. Now, it doesn't even have to be your nude picture. So if a boy wants to buy marijuana at a discount price, hey, it's 180 for a zip, I'll give you 100 plus I got 2 of the cheerleaders' naked pictures I'll give you with it. It becomes a currency. The girls use this at school to buy vapes. I don't have any money to buy vapes. Buy me a vape and I'll send you a nude. Buy me marijuana, I'll send you a video. And it becomes a currency. And the girls don't care anymore. It used to be a long time ago when first pictures started coming out of girls nude in schools. I mean, some girls would commit suicide because there's a really bad stigma. Nowadays, you tell her, hey, your picture's being shared all over this school. No. Somebody else's picture will go tomorrow. It's not the first time. Right? There's just nothing bad about it. And the parents, when I tell the parents, they're pretty shocked at first. But then the next day the kid has a phone again. Right? My kid would never have a phone again in their life. A little cup with a string, maybe. But that is the world we live in. It becomes a currency. And so what happens with that currency is nowadays, I don't know if you guys know about OnlyFans. It's basically Instagram where you sell naked pictures. You can charge a monthly fee or you can charge a per picture fee. So it shows a blurred naked picture, and for somebody to uncover the unblurred version, they have to pay, $1 or $2. But multiplied over millions of people, it's a lot of money. So now what I'm starting to hear from high school kids is that high school diplomas are for ugly people. Because if you're good looking, you can sell your naked pictures and make lots of money. And we actually had a middle school girl, 2 of them, in a very rural school with thousands of dollars in their PayPal account. The parents started for them. right? Because once a parent starts a PayPal account, a Venmo account, the first transaction the parent sees in their bank account, right? So Venmo or PayPal sends 2 cents and 6 cents or something like that, and you have to verify. After that, as long as the account doesn't go negative, parents don't know what's happening with that account. So the kid can spend money on that account as long as they don't go to zero. And they can make money on that account. But it is becoming very popular for kids to sell naked pictures of themselves. It's crazy. Next. Okay, photo sharing at school. I get this call from police a lot, but let me tell you what happened the very first time I saw nude photo sharing. 2 7th grade girls, both 12 years old, both office age, both 4.0 girls, got in a fight at lunch. It wasn't anything crazy, but they wrestled around, got all dirty. So I called in the first girl, hey, what are you guys fighting for? She sent a movie picture to my boyfriend. I'm like, stop. She's 12, she did not. Right? I couldn't believe it. It's like, no way. Especially straight A, 4.0, Supergirl. Not happening. I'm like, stop. No, she did, I saw it. I'm like, maybe Photoshop? No way. Send her away, call the other girl. Hey, why were you guys fighting? Well, I know I shouldn't have, but I sent a topless picture to her boyfriend. I don't even know what to say. I was in shock. I'm looking at a 12-year-old girl. She barely doesn't look like a boy. So I said, who else you send naked pictures to? This boy, and this boy. So I call in this boy. Hey, you have a naked picture of this girl? Yeah. Who else do you have naked pictures of? This girl, and this girl. Call in this girl. Did you send your naked picture? Yeah. Who else do you send them to? This boy, and this boy. By about lunch, I had about 30 phones already. And I was going to keep going. So I just time out. This has to stop. But that's happened probably 10 times in my job as an SRO where the pictures just start exploding. And other SROs call me, it's like, Gomez, this is what I have happening. I got 1 picture, now I got 10 pictures, now I got 30 pictures. How long do I take this? Take it to about lunch, and the kids are going to think that the FBI is going to come in and waterboard people because they got picture sharing going on. Because the rumors start going around really quickly. But you're not going to get all the pictures. Nor should you even try, because it's too big a job. 70 to 80% if you're in high school. That's a crazy amount. A crazy amount. Next. Sextortion. So as naked pictures start getting shared around, we have predators that are specifically about sextorting people. And so there's 2 types of sextortion. You can sextortion for money, or you can sextortion for more pictures and more favors. Right? So if somebody gets a hold of somebody's naked picture, especially the high school girls or the middle school girls, they send them an anonymous email, hey, I have a naked picture of you. And they usually send them a video of their Instagram list. Say, unless you send me another picture of yourself naked with this pose, I'm going to send this to all your Instagram friends. Or unless you send me $400 in iTunes cards, I'm going to send it to all your Instagram friends. I'm going to send it to your mom's work. I'm going to send it to your grandma and your grandpa. And they've usually done a little homework, so they've found some of those email addresses. And that happens so many times at the middle school level. But the high school level, at the adult level, on Facebook, I always get these men, 20 to 50, who start talking to some girl on Facebook. And she says, hey, thanks for talking to me. Here, I'm going to take off my shirt for you. Do the same. The guy takes off his shirt. Pretty soon he's nude. The next day he's getting sextorted for money. And in those sextortion cases, whether it's a kid or an adult, it's usually $400 or $500 they ask for in iTunes cards because they can't be traced. Once they send the $400 or $500, the next day, hey, thanks for the $400. Next week I want 400 more. And I want 400 more, and I want 400 more. It never ends until that person has spent every dime that they have. So I try and educate the kids if that happens, come to police right away. So with boys, a lot of people think, hey, this is happening to girls, mostly. It's happening to a lot of boys now. So the way this works, a boy will get contacted on private message by a 15-year-old hottie girl. How many boys are going to say stranger danger when they're contacted by an unknown 15-year-old hottie girl? None. It's usually, hey, how are you doing? Hottie girl will talk to them forever, at least 15 minutes. Then she'll start laying it on and think, hey boy, you're super cute. I can't believe my luck in meeting you. You're awesome. You're super special. I like you so much. I'm going to send you a special picture and I want you to send me one back. So this hottie girl sends them a naked picture of herself, or topless is what it usually starts as. Sends a topless picture. How many teenagers are going to send a topless picture back? All of them. Then she sends a full nude. Then a lot of the boys will send a full nude back. And then she starts sending videos, and they start sending videos. Then pretty soon, somebody contacts the boy and says, hey look, I got a naked video of you, I've got naked pictures of you. Send me $500 in green dot cards from 7-Eleven. Or do this, or do that. Okay, so these sextortioners are adult men. They're not a 15-year-old hottie girl. Adult men who want naked pictures of young boys know they can go onto any pornography site, download a series of pictures of an 18-year-old model that looks like she's 15. And by series, here she is fully clothed at the mall with her fake friends, here she is fully clothed at the park, here she is fully clothed at her house, and then here's all the various stages of undress because she's a pornography model. So these predators take over her identity by just downloading her pictures, and now they start talking to teenage boys all across the world. And they are hugely successful in getting naked pictures of the boys. Right? How successful? I've had this exact story I've told 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and I still have some of them. I'm like, dude, weren't you in my class? Yeah. Didn't I tell you this story? Yeah. I thought she was real, Officer Gomez. Ugh. Right? That's how powerful that is. So, the predators that get naked pictures of kids. Number one, they use them for self-pleasure. Number two, they use them for sextortion. Number three, they use them to join online child pornography trading groups, of which there's thousands of those groups. In order to join these groups, you have to pay them a fee, usually $100 to $200, and you have to upload 5 original child pornography images. That makes you a felon right off the get-go. But that keeps from police from finding out who it is. Right? We can't see who these groups are because we're never going to upload 5 original images. Never. With boys, the predators know to use pornography. With girls, the predators know to use their need to be more mature against them. So here's how that looks like. I had a young lady come into my office, 7th or 8th grade girl, in tears. The boys wouldn't ask her to the boogie bash, which is our little middle school dance. Cute girl, very religious. I don't think she'd ever cursed in her life. But she was all about God and her family and her community. So boys just wouldn't ask her to dance. There's no fun there. She wanted to be asked to dance like all her other friends were. So now enter a high school boy from a different school that doesn't know her reputation. So he talks to her, hey, you're a cute girl. He invites her to the football game. Hey, look, I'd love to take you to the football game. We'll share a popcorn, we'll walk around, maybe we can hold hands. In a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl, that's her first relationship, how is that going to feel? It's going to feel like she's in love. It's going to feel like she's on top of the world. I saw the conversation that happened later. He asked her, hey, send me nudes. And she told him all the right things. Hey, it's against my family, it's against my religion, it's against everything I know. I can't send you nudes. So he said the one sentence that I see many older boys use with younger girls. Hey, I thought you were more mature than that. Look me up in a couple of years, I'd love to take you on a date. So now her first relationship just came crashing down to 0. And instead of leaving it at that, she took 30 seconds, took off her clothes, took a couple of naked pictures of herself and sent them. Now her relationship was back on. Unfortunately for her, another girl told me that this boy had naked pictures of this other girl. So when I went behind to find those pictures, I found pictures of the other girl, but I also found my little religious girl naked pictures. And 18 other middle school girls on this guy's phone. He's a professional. And they'd already been traded. Once they're traded, they hit the internet, they're not coming back. Right? They are not coming back. Next, sex trafficking. Social media, as soon as you give it to kids, it starts grooming kids to be sex trafficked. How does it do this? By rewarding kids for sexual stuff. How do we reward them? By having likes. So let's take TikTok, for example. TikTok has a bunch of challenges. One of them you might have seen is the plank challenge. Let's do the plank challenge. They put a cutesy song. Guy or girl starts off push-up position in front of the camera. The music starts. They go down to plank, plank, push-up, push-up, plank, plank, push-up, push-up, in time with the music. Now, if you do this, you'll get 10 likes, 20 likes. If you do this without a bra and a loose shirt, you will get 300,000 likes. And I see middle school girls doing that. So they learn right away, this is what you're worth. And they start doing bigger and better things. And parents think it's just cutesy video. That's just a plank challenge, that's a healthy thing. Mm-mm. So we are grooming these kids for sex trafficking. Because everything, you want likes on Instagram? Show cleavage. You want likes on Snapchat? Put a naked video up. You will be the talk of everything. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, what race, what religion. The more you show, the more likes you get. And it's a crazy thing. So now, I get calls from parents. What's going on? My daughter's 18, and I just found this email. She is going to California to make an adult porn video. They're going to pay her $10,000. She's at the airport right now. Can you stop her? I go down and talk to her, but it's not going to help. And I do go down and I do my best. I've not stopped one yet. Florida and California will offer $10,000 for a video. And if a kid doesn't have any other plans, they're going. That's where they're going to get hooked on drugs. That's where they're going to get sex trafficked. It's a crazy world. A crazy world. Next. Applications. TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all of those require you to be 13 before you have those accounts. How many kids wait till they're 13? Not very many. How many parents know that you're supposed to be 13? A lot. How many parents let their kids have it before they're 13? A lot. But I always tell parents, I say, look, you're either going to teach your kids to be rule followers or you're not. And I said, this is going to come back to bite you when drinking age, smoking age, driving age, right? They're there for a reason. And this is actually dictated by like the FCC above what the companies are. And for many good reasons, like TikTok and Snapchat, I wouldn't let kids have it until they're 18. It's that bad of sexualization for kids. Next. Snapchat. Snapchat and TikTok are the most popular programs for kids. Snapchat mostly because it deletes all the messages without kids having to delete it on their own. For most other programs, kids have to delete. Although, now Instagram, you can delete messages. Deletes them automatically. Now Facebook will delete messages automatically. Right? These are things that are made just for parents not to be able to monitor kids. Kids send nude photos through Snapchat, they know that they're not going to disappear. When it first started, they thought, okay, maybe it'll disappear, but they know. The only reason they have it is so parents can't find it. Snapchat has its own secret vault to hide pictures. It's called My Eyes Only. If you scroll through the camera roll, you'll see My Eyes Only. There'll be a pin code. That's where they keep all their naked pictures. That's where boys keep their collective pictures of girls. Snapchat also puts a map up within about 10 feet of where your kids are at. You can turn the map off, but most kids don't. They want everybody to know where they're at, just like they want everybody to know they're having coffee, what their food looks like, what music they're listening to. These are all dangerous things. But Snapchat's one of the ones that predators use the most. And I know because I've arrested many predators. Next. TikTok. TikTok is the up and coming. It used to be Musical.ly. That's kind of a lip-syncing, fun program. It could be fun. But all the predators have ruined it. Basically, we have group grooming of young kids to be sexualized. Now, some of the challenges we have are awful challenges. Last month, we had the wreck the bathroom challenge, which many schools suffered wreckage in their bathrooms. Basically, kids were stealing all the soap dispensers, they were stealing sinks, they were kicking the toilets off their bases, and they were wreaking havoc. So many schools, even in Boise area, had to close the restrooms. You had to sign in and sign out to go to the restroom because of a TikTok challenge. But there's worse challenges. Some of the girls will go in their super tight spandex or a short miniskirt, and they'll drop something in front of the male teacher. And she'll bend over really slow to get it while everybody's focusing on the male teacher with their TikTok videos. Right? And they do all kinds of awful challenges, but a lot of them are geared towards sexualization. But when they show their parents, they're lip syncing to something, and parents, oh, what a nice program, they're learning something. Mm-hmm. That's only what you see on the mom and dad account. What's really happening is much worse. Next. Oh, let's go back one. I forgot. On the TikTok, what's an accountant? On TikTok now, there's videos of kids lip syncing to I'm an accountant. But what they really mean is I sell my pictures and videos for money. They call themselves accountants now, so that when anybody else asks them, hey, what do you do for work? I'm an accountant. And you see videos on YouTube of adult women who are doing the same thing. They're doing the dance, hey, I'm an accountant. And that's what they're doing. They're selling their pictures, their videos for money. So now I get high school girls, hey, I'm just going to be an accountant. No. Next. Instagram. Instagram now has videos, just like TikTok. They're called Reels. Instagram now has disappearing messages, just like Snapchat. Highly sexualized. You get to pornography pretty quickly on Instagram. It takes nothing. Now on Instagram, what parents have to look out for, most kids have 5 accounts. The reason they have 5 accounts, they have one for mom and dad, they have one for one friend circle, they have one for another friend circle, and they have a couple for their drug and alcohol pictures. Most parents just see the one account, oh, it's so cute, they're posting a picture of them at the park with the ducks. That's only one account. There's usually 5. Even the middle school kids have 5. Next. Roblox. This one's tough. Roblox is meant for like 6 to 12-year-olds. Roblox has like 300 mini programs inside of it. Now, some of those programs are super awesome at teaching kids things. They teach them finances, they teach them building, they teach them driving rules, they teach them kindness. There's all kinds of great things that kids can do for learning in there. And I think that's what the Roblox applications engineers intended. Let's build something for kids. Unfortunately, predators who want to find kids, they go find them where the kids are at, on Roblox. So parents a lot of times won't turn off the chat feature. That's one of the top things you have to do on Roblox, turn off the chat feature. If you don't turn off the chat feature, people will start talking to your kids. And the predators will usually make an account that's about 2 years older than whatever kid they're targeting. But what happens, they start talking to the kids. On Roblox, there's what's called Robux, which is money you can spend to upgrade whatever. You can make your houses fancier, you can buy widgets. Kids love the Roblox. So you get a predator that's talking to a kid, hey, how are you doing? They'll take a month or 2 to friend them. And then they'll say, hey, look, I've got this extra widget that would cost a lot of Robux. If you go on your mom's iPad and send me a picture of yourself, I'll give you this widget. And they do. That was easy. Then after a week, hey, how do you let your friends like the widget? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I've got the gold-plated version if you just go take your big shirt off and send me another picture. Okay. These are 6, 7, 8-year-olds. They have no idea what they're doing. Then the predator gives them the widget, the Robux. And then it gets worse from there. Right? And this is happening a lot. You turn off the chat. When the kids go into Roblox, what's happening is a lot of the predators are making sexualized names, pornography names for the characters that they're running around in. So even if they can't talk to your kids, the kids are being desensitized to pornography names. So 6, 7, 8-year-olds are seeing these horrible pornography names as a character name. And there's even worse than that. My wife and I were watching news, and a mom came on the news and said, hey, I was watching my 6-year-old daughter play Roblox, and my daughter's character was gang raped in a park. I thought, I was like, no, I don't believe it. About a week later, Roblox came on and said, hey, we fixed the loophole in Roblox that allowed people to gang rape people in the park. Right? It's crazy. Not on Roblox part. They do what they can to filter, to fix loopholes, but there are loopholes. There are very bad people hunting kids on there. And they will find every way they can. Right? So you have to watch kids very carefully, no matter what they're on. As soon as you plug them into the internet, there's a danger. Next. Other popular applications, right? Minecraft, Fortnite. Minecraft, I love Minecraft. Very educational. You build things, you explore things. Minecraft can be played without internet. And it can be played very well without internet. It can be played with 2 kids in the same house without going on the internet as well. Neighbors can play it. But as soon as you go on the internet and you have people you don't know, it becomes dangerous. Right? We have all the same things that I told you about Roblox. Fortnite, more of an addiction issue, right? Kids get addicted to Fortnite and all the new seasons and talking with their friends, and then when you try and unplug it for them, you come away missing a finger. But that's how addictive it becomes. And they're making it that addictive on purpose. Next. Payment applications. So we talked a little bit about payment applications, how kids are using them. They'll ask a parent, well, let's start from the beginning. On TikTok, somebody will tell the kid, especially a girl, I'll give you $20 for a picture of your feet. The girl's like, that's easy. Snap. Okay, give me $20. Bird's like, okay. Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. I don't have any of those. How can I pay you? So then the girl, however age she is, she's got to get a Venmo, PayPal. A lot of times they'll just go to parents, hey mom, I need a PayPal. Okay, here you go. And they never pay attention to it. As soon as that predator can pay the kid $20, now they can pay him $50 for a panty picture. Now they can pay him $100 for a topless picture. And that's how that entry line is supposed to work, right? Let me have a picture of your feet. Now if parents are smart and say, I'm not going to give you a PayPal account. Now that kid goes to an 18-year-old at the school. Hey, I need a PayPal account, you're 18. And I have 18-year-olds that are basically digital pimps. Hey, I'll set up your PayPal account because I'm 18. You give me a percentage of whatever you bring in. A digital pimp. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. And this is happening more and more and more. Especially since by the time kids hit 15, 16, they've been on cell phones since they were 6. Next. Secret applications. This calculator application is probably the most popular secret application there is. Kids get this special application that is their calculator. If you put it in a swipe and a scoop on a calculator application, it opens up a secret gallery, secret chat room. This is one they use in school when they're using them in class. As the teacher's walking around, hey, I'm using my calculator, I'm calculating whatever. As soon as the teacher walks away, now we're back to our secret. When parents check, they can't get into those applications unless they go through the calculator. And parents don't know to go through the calculator. Nor do they know the special code inside the calculator because you can set up all kinds of codes. These programs were initially meant for cheating husbands and wives to keep their extramarital affairs secret. But kids picked up on it very quickly and used it for their own stuff. Next, parental applications. So I always advise parents to put parental applications on. Apple phones come with a parental application already on there. You just have to set it up. It's free. Any Samsung phones, Android phones, you can download it free. It's called Family Link. And they're pretty good. Some of the paid ones are better. But all of them have their loopholes. And here's a couple that the kids will use. A lot of parents will set up a bedtime of 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock, your kid can't use the phone. At 9:30, the kid will change the time zone on the phone. At 10:30, they'll change the time zone again. At 11:30, they'll change the time zone again. So they can basically go all night long by changing the time zone. Okay? A lot of parents will put a per-use timer. You can use Instagram for an hour a day and that's it. Well, when we get to the 50-minute mark, the kid deletes Instagram from the phone altogether. Re-downloads it, re-logs in, and now their timer starts again. Crazy. If parents really have it locked down, kids can use a second phone, an iPad, anything, and they can log in through that phone that's connected to cellular, to Wi-Fi, and they can use it without the restrictions using the second phone. Same way we use a flip phone. GPS fencing, a lot of parents will check where their kids are during the day. Thanks to Pokemon Go, a lot of the kids will alter their GPS coordinates to look like they were walking around in China or Japan or Australia, and they can get the cool Pokemons. Well, they can do the same thing. They can be anywhere and make their GPS say they're at school. So when a parent looks, hey, I'm at school. Right? That's just a few of the workarounds. One of the cool ones I just learned about in the last couple weeks, a kid went on his dad's cell phone, blocked all the school numbers, all the school emails. So they could stay home, do whatever they wanted, they're never going to get a phone call, they're never going to get an email. Pretty genius. Until dad found out, because he did find out. I don't know how he found out, but he did find out. They always do. So workarounds, but I always recommend you do it anyways. Even if the kids can get around it, do it anyways, because then it means to them, it tells them it's important to you. And sometimes that's the most important thing, right? What's important to you, they need to know this. Next, best practices. For schools, well-written digital policies on bullying, on cell phones in the school, on problems that we have on the school bus, just well-defined policies, right? The middle school I went to today, awesome policy, no cell phones at school. It's easier. You'll get some pushback, but if you do it right from the get-go, it's the best. Monitoring applications, education. For most people, this is the only class they're ever going to go to. Right? But there's a lot to know. And anybody that comes to this class, like, man, every parent should have this. Because there's no way they know all these things. What else do I have up there? Good communication with local law enforcement. I communicate with the schools all the time. I communicate with the judges. We try and help this out. Right? We have, what, 75% of high school kids sending out naked pictures. That's sending out child porn. Do we want to put charges on all those kids? No. We work with them. We educate. We give these classes. Right? It's a community involvement. What do we have for next? Okay, that's about it, but let me tell you a few things here, just as we end up moving right on time. Because we have till 8, right? So, first of all, you can find this exact talk on my Facebook page. It's at Deputy Gomez. It's pinned to the very top. It's a 90-minute presentation. I advise everybody to watch it with 10-year-old kids and up. Second of all, on my Facebook page, I try and put all the latest and greatest scams, all the news things that parents need to know about social media, all the different things you need to watch out for. And I'll put a lot of my classes that I'm going to go to. I usually try and do one class a month in different places. This is the second time I've been to Dillon. I was in Ennis yesterday. It's awesome. But I'm going to do more and more. But I'm still a school resource officer. I'm still a deputy in Idaho, so I still have that job, which I love. So I keep people updated on the Facebook page. So the question I always get, and we'll leave you with this thought. Officer Gomez, 20% of the girls don't send out their naked pictures. What's the difference between them and everybody that does? And my best answer to that, and it's not hard science, is those 20% of kids know what they're worth. Okay, those 20% of kids have family values that are taught to them, that are shown to them all the time. And the way I came up with it, I had a young lady, probably an 11th grader, come into my office bawling, Officer Gomez, I had a boyfriend for 3 weeks and he dumped me just like all the other boys. What am I doing wrong? And so I asked her, what do you worth? And she's like, I don't know. Like, you have to know what you're worth. Right? I have a dog at home. He can fetch and he can ask me for water. What can you do better than my dog? I don't know. And she really couldn't come up with something. So I said, look, go home tonight. Make a list of your future husband. What would you like characteristics from him? And then when she came back with that list, I said, how many of these do you have? She's like, well, not enough of them. Okay, that's how you build what you're worth. So then I started asking all the kids, what are you worth? Probably 1 out of 100 kids could tell me what they were worth. 1 out of 100. So then I asked the parents, what are your family values? Do you have any? Well, of course we have family values. Do your kids know you have family values? Are they written in your house? Do you practice them? Do you talk about them? If the kids spend 8 to 12 hours on social media every day, that's where they're going to get their family values. Right? How often do parents go over those things? Not very often. A lot of religions, they go over it weekly. Hey, look, these are our values. These are things we talk about. And then especially if you go multiple times a week to a church, you start talking about them more. But there are families too that they go boating, they go skiing, they go outdoors, they spend a lot of family time together. That gives the mom and dad time to show the kids what their family values are. If it's all day on the internet, that's where they're going to get their family values. And unfortunately, more and more parents are using phones as babysitters. Here, don't bother me. We have to change that. Because if not, social media is raising our kids. So that is the big difference. And so I ask everybody everywhere, what are you worth? What are your family values? And we start putting an emphasis on that. And that's how we're going to battle this to whatever end. And I'll battle hard. And I have many parents who are doing the same thing. And I know because they contact me, hey, look, it's tough. I feel like I'm the only one with a 6th grader who doesn't have a cell phone. You're not. There's more people out there like you. And it's worth the fight, for sure. So you can contact me on Facebook. I'll be back someday, hopefully. Gotta bring my wife to introduce her to everybody. Love coming to Montana. Next time I gotta come when like Virginia City's open and all that kind of thing. But love it here. Thanks for having me. And have a good night.
Any questions?
What was the Facebook page?
Pardon me?
What is his Facebook page?
What's your Facebook?
Just in the Facebook search bar, at Deputy Gomez. If you type in Officer Gomez on any search, you'll find it. It's like Trump, Obama, Gomez.
Oh, dear God. So Dave, what this whole sense that where the nude pictures are so prevalent, and you're saying that, you know, they end up in the school and one day it's Mary and another day it's Susie and another, to where it's no big deal anymore. Our culture has changed to where it's no big deal. So then why are predators, why are others able to use it as leverage against a young woman when they say, I'll show your family or I'll show you this? Is it really just become no big deal, except it doesn't sound like that?
Except for to the family.
Okay.
Right? Because parents and kids should never know each other's having sex. Even though we know they are, it becomes a big deal. And I get kids, especially, you know, older high school kids, just going as my parents found out I'm having sex and they had a freak out. They have to know I'm having sex. I'm a young woman. And I'm like, let me tell you why they freaked out. Let's say you were to go home at lunch and you catch your parents having sex on the kitchen table. How freaky would that be? Oh my God, I'm never going to eat again. That's the grossest thing ever. Okay, you know parents are having sex, you just don't think about it. Parents know kids are having sex, you just don't think about it. It becomes a problem like that. Also, some of their friends, they don't want to see those pictures. Some of their girlfriends, they're worried about they're going to be calling them a slut and those kind of things. Not that they're worried about their modesty, they're worried about being judged. Because they will be judged. And then tomorrow somebody else will be judged. And a lot of times they'll be judged on all kinds of different things. So it's still a big deal in some sense, But in another sense, it's like, okay, I often get this, what's the big deal? It's just boobs. Right? I'm like, no, those are your boobs and you should keep them private, please. But that's a conversation parents should have. Parents should set the example. Right? Because that's the exact question. Hey, they're just boobs. Everybody has boobs. What, as a parent, can we tell kids to overcome that? Whereas everything they're seeing in their 8 to 12 hours a day of social media is, hey, your boobs are what you're worth. Right? And that is what we have to overcome. Because I can say, hey, look, that should be private. It's like, well, 300,000 people disagree with you on TikTok. Right? It's hard to argue some of those things. And that's where it has to come from parents. It just has to. I can try all day long, just like texting and driving. If I tell kids don't text and drive, as soon as they get out on the road, they see every adult around them texting and driving, how strong is my message? Not very good. Right? Whereas if I had the backup, hey, don't text and drive, and every other adult didn't text and drive, every other kid sort of tried to, if we did it as a society, don't text and drive, that'd be awesome. But it's not. Too many people text and drive as adults, and they don't know that they're setting a horrible example and basically reversing my text and driving message. But it's the same thing with me trying to tell kids, don't send out your naked pictures, when everybody else is telling them, send out your naked pictures. That's what you're worth. That's what makes you important. That's worth money. And celebrities, same thing. Their naked pictures go all over the place. Celebrities share their pictures for money. Most celebrities have an OnlyFans account as well. Right, so then there's just little me telling them, don't send out your naked pictures. And parents sometimes are shying away from that. Because they're like, there's no way my kid would send out a naked picture. They know better. Do they? They don't. It's conversations we have to have.
You always make a really strong point about not letting your child have a phone in the bedroom at night. You made it again today. And maybe I was taking notes and I missed it, but you made a comment last time about having a phone in the bedroom is like inviting a sexual predator. Could you
Yes.
elaborate on that a bit?
So here's even a better one. I tell parents, if you were at a yard sale and you saw a box of Playboys for sale, you buy the box of Playboys, would you put a box of Playboy magazines in a daughter or son's bedroom overnight? Nope. That'd be crazy talk. However, we're fine with putting a cell phone that has access to 1 million times more than that, has access to videos, has access to fetish things that are unimaginable. We'll put that in their bedroom, but not a Playboy magazine, because that's crazy talk. Okay? If you allow devices in the bedrooms, you basically invited a predator into your house. That should be the safest place for your kid. And whether it's a girl or a boy, they're both going to look up pornography. Right, people? Girls don't do that. Yes, they do. As soon as they see on Snapchat that one of their friends uses a sexual term that they don't know, they're looking it up. Once they look it up, they know. Once they know, now they can use that term. Now they can use another term. And these terms come so often that kids start looking them up, boys or girls. But is anybody going to leave a Playboy magazine in a 14-year-old boy's bedroom and expect them to leave it alone? No, they're not. Why would you do that with a device? It's a huge, huge risk. Again, their bedroom, your house, should be the safest place on the planet for your kids. As soon as you invite Wi-Fi into your house, especially into the bedroom, now you've invited 1 million predators into your house, right into their bedroom, where you can't see what's happening. Right? In our house, when we have kids, they're not taking them in the bedroom. In fact, they don't even take them upstairs where the kids live. It's downstairs where we can all see what they're doing. At night, all the phones get checked in. Then I do a Wi-Fi scan at night, and I do a Bluetooth scan with my phone to make sure there's no unauthorized phone usage. Might they sneak some? They might sneak one by, but they know it's important to them, and we talk about it a lot. Make your house a safe home. You can't do that with a million predators able to talk to your kids. And by million predators, I actually mean like 20 million.
So what's a Wi-Fi scan?
A Wi-Fi scan. So you can download a free Wi-Fi scanner on any cell phone or a Bluetooth scanner. You download it and you click scan and it'll tell you all the Wi-Fi devices that are using Wi-Fi within the range of your phone.
So it's an app.
It's just an app on an Apple phone or a Samsung. And then usually you can find a free one. And you just scan and it'll tell you everything's hooked up and you're gonna be surprised how many things are hooked up.
Is there a certain one?
No, and they change all the time, so just do a Wi-Fi scanner or a Bluetooth scanner. I use it to find runaway kids. So I'll go to a house, and sometimes the parents don't even know that there's a runaway in their house. And I'll knock, hey, look, I'm looking for a runaway kid. Their name's this. Well, we don't have any extra kids in the house. I'll say, you mind if I do a quick Wi-Fi scan? I do a Wi-Fi scan. This name looks an awful lot like the kid that I'm looking for. Oh, come in and find them if they're in my house. And I do. I'm as sneaky as the kids, right? Because I learned from the predators, unfortunately. But I try and share all those things with parents. Any other questions? Concerns? Comments?
I have one more.
Okay.
We don't have a school resource officer in our K through 12. Would you just give a little overview about what exactly a school resource officer does and what's the benefits?
Perfect. So as a school resource officer, I suit up in my patrol uniform. I take my patrol car and I go to the school every single day. I work there for all the time that the schools are there open, I'm there. But what my job is to build relationships with the kids. And the bigger problems the kids have, the more I need a relationship with them. And my job is to get the kids to trust me so that when they are in trouble, when they're getting abused, when they're getting sextortion, when they're getting into drugs, or their friends are getting into drugs, they trust me enough to come tell me. Now, sometimes that involves getting kids in trouble. But I have a lot of resources that regular patrol officers don't have. Like I can send kids to diversion without taking them to a judge or anything. I write up a report, I send it to diversion, which means it never goes on their record. But now they have to do community service like they were in trouble. They have to write paperwork like they were in trouble. They have to be checked on by probation and parole, but without it going on their record. So we try and keep kids out of the system as much as possible. I get together with all the local community services. I get free meat that I take around to some of my poorer families. I get free food, milk. I take laundry detergent. It's like gold to some of my poverty families. And so on Fridays, I go out and we have out in the woods people that don't even have electricity and running water that they send their kids to school. So I go there and I give them food and I talk to them so that when an emergency happens, the parents feel comfortable enough to come talk to me and ask me for help without thinking I'm going to take their kids. Right? And with my accounts, I always have the accounts open for kids. I have a Snapchat account. Kids will sometimes Snapchat me at midnight. My parents are fighting very badly and I don't know what to do. Or they'll Snapchat me, hey, this girl is being sextortion for naked pictures and she's scared, she doesn't know what to do. Right? And the kids trust me because I've been working with them so long and they know what I'm going to do. They know that there's consequences for what I do, but they also know that I'm going to be on their team no matter what. Right? And these are things that teachers can't really do. I'm the one who's at their house at 3 in the morning when their parents are fighting. I'm the one who knows some creeper is coming after their mom from high school or something, and the whole family is scared. So I can tell the teachers in the morning, hey, look, this kid was up till 2 in the morning, and they're here at school because this is the safest place for them. Hey, I went to this kid's house. I just took them from their family last night because they had feces all over the floor, and they had no food in the fridge. So health and welfare took them. They're not going to be at school for a week while we work with the family to fix this. Right? So I am one of the biggest advocates for their kids that there is. Being a school resource officer, the school pays for part of my salary. So it helps the police officer have a bigger force as well without it coming out of their budget. So during the school day, I can go out and take a crash call. I'm still a police officer. I can go out and take a domestic fight. I can back up any other patrol officer because I'm a fully uniformed officer. In the summertime, I just go to regular patrol so that I remember how to deal with adults. If a parent comes to the school and is overly excited and wanting to get out of control, I can handle that parent. Right? I have a pepper spray, I have a taser, I have a whole list of things I can handle. And that's probably my biggest situation, having to deal with parents. I have to deal with parents who just lost a court battle and they think they're going to come steal their kid out of school and leave. But a lot of times they think they're the biggest person coming to the school, so no teacher's going to stand in their way, which they might not. I'm going to be in their way. And I know these things are usually happen before they happen because I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to the community. If a kid needs a new bike, I have the resources for that. If a parent needs a place to stay, I have resources. I have Walmart cards, I have gas cards, and I can get more. That makes sense. SROs are pretty cool and all.
Thank you so much for coming this evening. We appreciate it a lot. If you didn't get a chance to sign in, please do. This will be posted on our BeTheChange406.org website. And so if you've learned something tonight that you think your friend or your relative or your next door neighbor might benefit from, this will be up within the next week, Jeremy?
Oh, it'll be out today.
Oh, listen to him, he's so efficient.
Yeah.
So that means we have to get it up on our website, so it might be a little bit longer, but